We're going to look at the book of Proverbs today, and I'm going to read the first 3 verses of chapter 3. My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands, for length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Sometimes when people think about obedience, they conjure up a mental picture of someone begrudgingly doing what they're told, in spite of the fact that they don't really want to do it. Obedience is something you do because you have to. And that's a picture that unfortunately may have been handed down to us by the scholars of the Dark Ages, because it's certainly not the biblical picture. Take a look at this passage from the book of Proverbs. It talks about keeping God's commands in your heart, and it talks about writing them in the tablet of your heart. That's a radically different concept than keeping a checklist of requirements in your pocket that you pull out once in a while to make sure that you're still playing within the bounds. When God's commandments are written in your heart, they've become a part of who you are. You actually like them because you've absorbed them as your own set of values. And at that point, obedience becomes second nature. You see, God isn't really interested in a checklist religion. He's much more interested in a relationship, in walking so closely with you that you begin to actually reflect His character and resemble Him. Over in the New Testament, when John talks about the subject of prayer, he says something really profound in 1 John 5, beginning in verse 14. Now this is the confidence that we have in Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us. And if we know that He hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we have asked of Him. When you become so close to God that your will begins to reflect His will, your prayer life moves to a whole new level. Now when you ask for things, you have the same values and desires as God Himself. And so you know you're going to get an answer. You've stepped into the stream of God's purpose. You're moving in harmony with His plan for your life and this world. And now the things you ask for are the things that God wants anyway. It's time for Christians to stop thinking in terms of God as unreasonable and arbitrary. It's time for us to open our Bibles and rediscover exactly who God is: loving, merciful, just, fair. If we make His character the object of our study, something remarkable begins to happen. When we see just how magnificent our God really is, our hearts begin to crave His character. We want to be more like Him, and stubborn, sinful hearts begin to melt, and our misdirected plans begin to fall into harmony with His stunning plan for our lives. And you've just got to know that's going to be a better way to live.